Alright, I'm here to talk about the Fnaf movie because I've seen it twice at this point, and may I just say straight off the bat, no spoilers right now. I absolutely loved it. Go and watch it. It's just a really fun movie. And you're if you clicked on this video, you're probably gonna like it. I have been an avid fan for since the games came out. Oof. And obviously to me, it felt so much better seeing it because I'd be like, oh, I know what that reference is. So I honestly, I can't really even imagine a world where I'm completely blind to all of the FNAF lore. So I don't know how enjoyable it would be to an unknown viewer, but I still think you should watch it because it's a fun movie. Anyways, enough of that. Just watch the movie, and I'm gonna go into spoilers now. So the movie opens up on a very stereotypical, like, this is the character to secure the threat. This is a character that's gonna die in the beginning to know that the threat is a threat. It's a security guard. He's running away. It's super dramatic. And the thing that I actually love about this, I know that it's in the trailers, so people already knew about it. I think I already knew about it. But when he gets jump scared, it cuts to black, and I feel like at that point I was expecting it to be and now show us our main character, which it normally does. But it cut to him secured in a chair with the face grinder, I'm gonna call it. And I just feel like, even though this movie wasn't that scary to me, I absolutely loved that they didn't just be and then jump scare end scene. They're just and then this is how he dies. And it's oh, I didn't need to see that face grinder, but thanks for showing me. That's not a good way to go, buddy. So I just wanted to say, I absolutely loved how they did that. For the plot in general, I feel like it was very simple, It's another sibling relationship because FNAF loves its sibling relationships. It has a lot of parallels with movie Michael to game Michael because they're very creative on the names. Sorry, that was sarcasm. And the story is basically that older brother Michael might get his sister taken away from him and given to Aunt Jane, who sucks, and she is very bad, and she considered murder for a moment, so maybe that might imply something in the future, maybe not. It is quite a simple plot, but I think that's actually for the better because it allows them to expand more within that simple plot. Obviously, my man Mike, he needs to have a job to look better on papers to keep his sister, and that's why he works and has to spend 5 nights at Freddy's. Ooh. And actually, the first couple nights, nothing really happens, to be honest. He just kind of goes to bed, which, gosh, I wish Game Mike knew how to do that. The game would be so much easier. Just go to sleep. They're very respectful. But I do actually like this, because this is already in the spoiler territory zone, so I can mention the end. At the very ending, it's revealed that the animatronics sort of see things through pictures, which is kind of foreshadowed along the way, with the teacher at the very beginning being oh yeah, children, they understand meanings better in pictures because before they can use words, they see pictures. There's a cat meowing. I'm so sorry if you hear that. He's okay. He's just like that. So it would make sense that since children are possessing the animatronics, when they'd see pictures, they'd understand, oh, this is the truth. And Abby, who is Michael's little sister, has been drawing photos the whole entire time of her being friends with all the ghost kids, and also of Michael, and him being pretty nice, pretty chill dude. So it would actually make sense that he would just be able to go to bed, and they'd be well, the photos say that he's pretty okay, so I guess he's chill. Honestly, I didn't even notice this on my first watch, but it kind of felt obvious on my second one, is that once Abby does get mad at Michael and scribble out his face, that is the night the animatronics attack him, because the photos say he's bad now, so let's kill him. Okay, but enough about the plot. I didn't go over literally everything because I didn't want to, but I also wanted to talk quickly about the horrorness of it, which is not that scary to me personally. I could definitely. I felt like through the whole time they'd do something kind of scary, and in my mind I'd be like, that's cool. I understand why it's scary, but it didn't really scare me. I wish it would have been scarier, but it's not really a big gripe I have with it. Of course, like they wanted to tone it down, and I did quite like all of the moral dilemmas a lot. It definitely messed with your mind more, like Michael having to pick between his siblings. I was like, oh god, that's messed up. I would say if you're looking for like a super scary movie, obviously the Fnaf movie is not going to be the way to go. But that doesn't mean it's bad. Actually, I feel like what it did was really good. Even if it wasn't the scariest horror movie, it was still a wonderful horror movie, and it was really funny to me. So, there's a part where the animatronics, and this is like right after they killed a bunch of people, they're just like hanging out with the little girl, they're like building a fort, and Bonnie falls over, and they're like, oh my gosh, Bonnie, are you okay? And he does like a weak little thumbs up. And during that moment of the movie, I kid you not, I turned to my sister and I said, this is the best movie I've ever seen. Because I was not expecting that. It was just, honestly, they knew what they were doing. They knew it was funny. Like, that was so out of the blue. In the scene that's already out of the blue, that it just was a cherry on top. Like, yeah, this movie, not the scariest, but it was so funny to me that, like, it made up for everything. And also, there's so much written dialogue that's, like, absolutely brutal in its nature, where I kept turning to my sister and I'm like, did you hear what they said? Like, we'd be like laughing the whole time, like, oh my gosh, that's so mean. Why would they say that? But like, it was a bit in a funny way. So it's definitely very well written. It's a very entertaining movie to watch, which is good because the worst crime a movie can do is be boring. So it knew what it was doing, and I reward it for that. It's a really fun movie. Of course, I can't leave out all of the references, because the moment Chica's Party Rainbow from FNAF World showed up on the screen, I was frantically pointing at it to my sister, who knows nothing about FNAF and probably thought I was a madman, but oh well. Because, I don't know, I just feel so. Maybe it's the Sonic in me, the fact that they never bring up, like, Maria in Sonic the Hedgehog. But whenever they reference something that feels obscure, I'm like, they can do that? They're allowed? Like, obviously, there is gonna be references. But, like, they name drop William Afton, and I'm like, for some reason, surprised about that. So maybe I'm a little easy to get excited about it. But I don't feel like the references were at all overbearing. They were mostly just a fun touch. Like, I'd look over to my sister and she'd be watching it perfectly normal, and they didn't like hinder her experience where she's like, but what's that? So the references were definitely in there for the fans to point and be very excited about, but they were not a distraction at all. Because I read all of the books, and I did not expect there to be, like, any reference to the books, which, shame on me, because it's literally written by the same guy. Of course there's going to be references to it. But the Ella animatronic was a very odd touch that it definitely made me ponder, but, like, it looked super cool, though. Like, I absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved it. The lore I absolutely do not understand. When Vanessa was like, William's my dad, and I was totally expecting the plot twist that Michael is gonna be like his son. Maybe he still is, who's to say? But honestly, didn't hinder my experience because it's a FNAF movie. I read all the books. They like to mess with the lore. It's inevitable. The Matt Pat cameo, did not know that was going to happen at all. Entire theater was cheering. It was just a wonderful experience. I was very happy he was in the movie. And I think I was most excited because they played the Five Nights at Freddy's Living Tombstone song at the end. I was rocking out. Absolutely wonderful. I know that a lot more YouTubers are in there. I only saw Matt, Pat, and Corey, but I know that Daco's somewhere in the background as well. And they just know what the fans are, what they want. Someone they put a wonderful opportunity to scream was at the bite of 87 in this movie. They know what the audience wants, and it's just really fun to see a movie that is so dedicated to its fans. Because of course there's movies where the fandom kind of you could argue that it makes it worse, where it's but they don't know what they're talking about. You have to do your artistic value, which is true. But with a thing like FNAF, I feel like its fan base really does thrive with the story, and having so many nods and so much YouTubers be involved actually helped out the movie a lot, and it made it just such a fun experience to watch, especially in the theater where a lot of them were also FNAF fans, so they'd be mumbling inside jokes about it, or pointing at the screen, and we'd all know oh, that's the thing from this obscure FNAF thing. So it's just a really fun movie to watch. 10 out of 10 would recommend. But be sure to tell me what you think about it in the comments. And I heard there's going to be more, and I definitely think that they'll be able to improve on the second, and I've heard there might be a third one, so I'm absolutely so excited.